Honey, do you have cash, or are you going to pay with a card? Vanessa's voice sliced through the room sharp enough to cut glass. Suddenly, 12 pairs of eyes were on me. 12 people who had just eaten lobster, imported salmon, and wines that cost more than my entire monthly Social Security check. 12 mouths waiting for my answer, smiling, but only with their lips, not their eyes. I smiled back. I opened my purse slowly. Then I said something none of them expected. But before I tell you what I said, let me take you back to how I even ended up in that moment. Sitting in an expensive Atlanta restaurant where the bill for one table was climbing toward $8,000. Welcome to my channel. I share real-life stories here every day. If you'd like to support me, please subscribe and tap the like button. Now let's get into the story. I'm sure you'll enjoy it till the end. 3 days earlier, Marcus, my son, showed up at the door of the tiny converted storage room where I lived now. Yes, a storage room. Not because I'd lost my home, no. Technically, it was still my house, but that is a whole story on its own. He knocked twice. Mama, you in there? His voice sounded cheerful, but the cheer felt forced. I opened the door. There he was, smiling that same smile he'd had since he was a baby. Only now that smile came with something else I had learned to recognize over the past 8 months. Need. Mama, I've got wonderful news, he said, stepping inside without waiting for me to invite him. His eyes scanned the little 10 by 10 room. A twin bed, 1 chair, a simple coat rack holding 4 dresses, and a small window facing the alley. We're having a family dinner. Something small and special for Vanessa's mom's birthday. Marilyn's birthday. Marilyn Carter. My daughter-in-law's mother. A woman I'd seen exactly 3 times in 2 years. It's just a normal dinner, Mama. Nothing crazy, Marcus said. But it would mean a lot to Vanessa if you came. Something squeezed in my chest. A family dinner. It had been so long since anyone used that word with me with any real affection. When is it? I asked, even though I already knew I'd say yes. I always said yes to Marcus. Always. This Saturday. 8 o'clock. At the Gilded Lily. That French restaurant downtown. The Gilded Lily. I had walked past it once. Red velvet curtains. Huge chandeliers. People walking and wearing coats that cost more than a used car. You sure, son? That place must be expensive. Marcus laughed, but it wasn't the same laugh he had when he was little. Mama, don't worry about that. It's a special occasion. And we're family. Family. That word kept echoing long after he left. I sat on the bed and looked out into the dark alley. Even though it wasn't quite 6 p.m., the back of the house was always dim. From there, I could hear the sounds from the main house, my house. The house I bought after 40 years of working as a seamstress. The house where I raised Marcus alone after Hector left us. The house with 3 bedrooms, pecan trees in the yard, and the kitchen with the tiles I picked myself one by one. The house that was no longer mine. 8 months earlier, Vanessa and Marcus came home with papers. Mama, we need to talk about something important. They sat across from me at my dining table. Vanessa pulled out documents from her expensive handbag. Mother Grace, with the new tax laws, if something happens to you, Marcus could lose this house. The government could take almost everything. Marcus held my hand. Mama, the solution is simple. If you put the house in my name now, all those problems disappear. Nothing changes for you. You'll keep living here exactly the same. This doesn't change anything for me? I asked quietly. Vanessa smiled. One of those perfect smiles that show all the teeth but none of the heart. Of course not, Mother Grace. The house is still yours. This is just a legal formality. Just protection. I looked at my son, the child I raised alone. His eyes were full of pleading. All right, I said softly. If you say it's best. And I signed. I signed because I trusted him. I signed because he was my child. I signed because I believed blood still meant something. 2 weeks later, Vanessa knocked on my bedroom door. Mother Grace, I need a word with you. She walked in and sat on my bed without asking. Good news, she said. Marcus and I are remodeling the house. It's going to be beautiful, but there will be noise and dust. We don't want you to be uncomfortable. I nodded, confused. So we thought you could stay in the converted storage room for a few months while we finish. The 10 by 10 room where I kept boxes and tools. For how long? I asked. She shrugged. 2 or 3 months. You know how these things go. Those 2 months turned into 8. The remodeling never finished. There was always something else to add. Always some reason why I couldn't move back. And without even realizing when it happened, I stopped being the owner of the house and became the tenant of the tiny room behind it. Saturday night, I wore my best clothes. A wine-colored dress I sewed myself years ago. Shiny black shoes I polished till they glowed. I tied my gray hair in a neat bun. I stared at the cracked mirror above the sink. A 65-year-old woman looked back, wrinkles, tired hands from decades of sewing, but still full of dignity. Still strong. Marcus picked me up at 7:30. We drove in silence. Mama, tonight is important to Vanessa. Her family will be there. Please just be yourself. Be myself, as if I was some problem they needed to manage. When we reached the Gilded Lily, my stomach tightened. It was even more luxurious than I remembered. A doorman in a maroon suit opened the car door. Inside, everything glowed. Golden lights, white tablecloths. Marcus guided me to a long table where 11 people were already seated. Vanessa stood up, glowing in an ivory dress that probably cost more than 3 months of my old mortgage payment. Mother Grace, so glad you made it. She hugged me lightly, a cold, empty hug. Sit here. She pointed to the corner seat, the farthest from the head of the table. The seat for the person who doesn't really matter. I sat and counted quietly. 12 people in total. Marilyn sat at the head in a champagne dress and pearl necklace. Her daughters sat beside her. Then cousins and uncle, 2 nephews glued to their phones, Marcus, Vanessa, and me. Well, now that we're all here, let's order. Vanessa snapped her fingers and the waiter appeared instantly. Wine list first. And the full menu. The wine bottles came, French names I couldn't pronounce. This is a Chateau Margaux 2010. And this is a Romani Conti. Vanessa didn't look at the prices. 3 bottles of the first, 2 of the second. My heart tightened. I'd seen those wines in magazines, each bottle easily hundreds of dollars, maybe thousands. Then came the menus, thick paper, gold letters. I opened mine. My hands shook. Foie gras, lobster, filet mignon. Every price made my monthly pension look like a joke. Grace, do you know what you'll order? Marilyn asked, her first words to me the entire night. I'm still deciding. She smiled kindly. Try the lobster. They say it's divine here. Everyone ordered heavy, expensive meals. When it was my turn, my voice came out tiny. Just a Caesar salad, please. Vanessa laughed, a sharp, glass-breaking sound. Oh, Mother Grace, don't be shy. We're celebrating. Everyone stared at me. All right. The salmon. The waiter wrote it down. Plate after plate arrived, artwork on dishes. The wine kept flowing. Vanessa laughed. Her sisters talked about European vacations. Cousins argued about luxury cars. I ate my salmon quietly, trying to disappear. Mama, are you okay? You're quiet. Marcus leaned over, smelling of expensive wine. I'm fine, son. Just tired. He nodded and went back to talking about stocks with Vanessa's uncle. Every bite I took felt heavy with guilt. Every sip of water reminded me I didn't belong here. I was the woman who lived in a 10 by 10 room on a $200 monthly allowance, because that's what they gave me. Yes, $200. The day after I signed the house over, Vanessa brought me an envelope. We know your pension is small, so here's a monthly allowance. I opened it. 10 $20 bills. That's for your food, personal items, everything. And is this enough? I asked quietly. Vanessa shrugged. Well, you don't pay rent or utilities anymore. Water, electricity, gas, all that comes out of our pocket. So $200 is fair. Fair. That word haunted me for months. Was it fair to live on $200 in a house I paid for? Was it fair to eat rice while they ate lobster? Was it fair to watch them remodel my home while I stared through a tiny window? Dessert came gold flakes, exotic fruits. I ordered plain black coffee. No sugar. No extras. Marilyn looked at me again. There was something in her eyes, curiosity? Concern? I couldn't tell. But the moment passed when Vanessa ordered more wine. Finally, the dinner ended. I just wanted to go home. Or back to the little room I now called home. Marcus laughed with the cousins. Vanessa hugged her sisters. Everyone was happy except me. Then the waiter appeared with a silver tray. And on it, a black leather folder. The bill. He placed it in front of Marilyn. She opened it. Her eyebrows lifted slightly. Then she closed the folder and slid it across the table until it stopped directly in front of me. Silence. Every head turned. The black leather folder sat in front of me like a threat. I didn't want to touch it. But Vanessa's voice cut in again, sharp, cold. Honey, do you have cash or are you going to pay with a card? Honey. The word sounded fake. I looked at her. Her smile was too perfect, like she had practiced it. Excuse me. My voice was weak. She chuckled. The check, Mother Grace. Cash or card? My heart pounded. I opened the folder with shaking hands. The number hit me like a punch. $34,268. Almost 2 years of my $200 allowance. Almost everything left in my savings after selling my car last month because I couldn't afford it anymore. $8,000 for a dinner I didn't ask for. A celebration I didn't belong to. Food and wine they enjoyed while I ate salmon and drank water. Well, Mother Grace, we're waiting, Vanessa said, impatience sliding into her voice. I looked around. Vanessa's sisters were smirking. The cousins were watching closely. Even the nephews put their phones down. And Marcus, my son, was staring at his plate. He wouldn't look at me. My own son couldn't even raise his eyes to mine. And in that moment, I understood. This wasn't an accident. This dinner, this invitation, this whole night had been planned. I wasn't invited as family. I was invited as the fool who was supposed to pay the bill. I smiled. I don't even know where that smile came from. Maybe from 40 years of swallowing insults in silence. Maybe from 8 months of living in a tiny room without complaining. Maybe from 65 years of being too kind, too patient, too good. I opened my purse slowly. Everyone leaned in a little, expecting to see a stack of cash or a shiny credit card. But that's not what I pulled out. I took out my old driver's license, the one that still had my address on it. My house. The same house that now legally belonged to Marcus. I put the license on top of the black leather folder, right next to the number. $34,268. I don't have money, I said. I spoke slowly and clearly so every single person at that table would hear me. I don't have cash. I don't have a credit card with that kind of limit. In fact, I have exactly $10 in my bank account. I paused. And do you know why I only have $10? Silence fell over the table like a heavy blanket. Vanessa stopped smiling. Marcus kept staring at his plate like it was the most interesting thing in the world. Marilyn watched me with narrowed eyes. I went on. I have $10 because 8 months ago, I gave my house to my son. A house I bought with 40 years of work. A house with 3 bedrooms and a backyard. A house worth more than $300,000. I gave it to him because they told me it was for protection, for taxes, for my own good. I raised my voice just a little. I wasn't shouting, but every word carried the weight of months of keeping quiet. And after I gave them my house, after I signed the papers they put in front of me, they moved me into a converted storage room, 10 feet by 10 feet. 1 bed, 1 chair, a window facing the alley. They told me it was temporary, just while they remodeled. That was 8 months ago. And do you know how much they give me every month to live on? I paused again. No one was even breathing. $200. Vanessa's sisters looked at each other. The cousins stopped smiling. The nephews quietly put their phones away. Marilyn straightened in her chair. Her face changed, confusion fading into something harder. Understanding, maybe. Or anger she was trying to control. $200 a month, I repeated. For food. For soap, toothpaste, everything. Just to exist. While you... I pointed at the empty plates, the empty wine bottles, the half-eaten desserts. while you spend $8,000 on one dinner. Vanessa was the first to speak. Mother Grace, you're exaggerating. We give you a place to live. You don't pay rent. You don't pay utilities. Her voice sounded nervous now, defensive. A place to live? I laughed, but there was no joy in it. It scratched my throat on the way out. You call that tiny room a place to live? The space where I used to store brooms and boxes. Where the sun never comes in. Where the bathroom is so small I can barely turn around. Mama, please. Marcus finally spoke. He finally looked at me. His eyes were red. From the wine or from shame, I don't know. Don't do this here. We can talk at home. At home? The words tasted bitter. At home, Marcus? In my house that isn't mine anymore? In that tiny room where you left me like an old piece of furniture in the way? My voice shook a little, but I didn't cry. I refused to cry in front of them. Marilyn stood up. Her chair scraped loudly against the wooden floor and made everyone jump. Vanessa. Her voice was low and dangerous. Is this true? Vanessa opened her mouth, closed it, then opened it again. Mama, she's exaggerating. We take care of her. We give her money. We feed her. Marilyn took a step toward her. I asked if it's true, she repeated. You have her living in a converted storage room? You give her only $200 a month? After she gave you her house? It was an old house, Mama. It needed work and she's older now. She couldn't keep up a house like that. Vanessa tried to explain, but her words sounded empty. Older. Marilyn let out a dry laugh. Grace is 65. I am 68. Am I too old to live in my own house too? Silence again. But this time, it felt different. This was the silence before a storm breaks. Vanessa, I asked you a question. Marilyn wasn't shouting. She didn't need to. Her voice had that kind of power only mothers have. You took her house. You have her living like a servant on her own property. Vanessa looked at Marcus, searching for backup. But Marcus still stared at his plate. Coward. My son was a coward. We didn't take it. She gave it to us. She signed the papers willingly, Vanessa insisted. Willingly. My voice came out stronger than I expected. You call lying to me willingly? Telling me it was for protection. Promising nothing would change. I stood up too. My legs were shaking, but I kept myself steady. I signed because I trusted. Because he is my son. Because I thought family meant something. I looked straight at Marcus. I was wrong. One of the cousins coughed awkwardly. One of Vanessa's sisters muttered something about going to the restroom. But Marilyn raised her hand. Nobody moves. Her voice cut through the room. Nobody leaves until this is resolved. She turned to me. Her eyes were so much like Vanessa's, but there was something else in them. Compassion, humanity. Grace, she said softly. Do you have anywhere to go tonight? Any family? Any friends? The question caught me off guard. I thought about my life. About my 40 years of work. About friends I had lost touch with because I was always busy just surviving. About the fact that, apart from Marcus, I really had no one. No, I said quietly. And that one word hurt more than anything else I'd said all night. I don't have anyone. Marilyn nodded like she already knew that would be my answer. Then you're coming with me to my house tonight. And tomorrow, we're going to fix this mess. Vanessa went pale. Mama, you can't be serious. Marilyn looked at her daughter with an expression I would never wish on anyone. Pure disappointment. I am serious. Of course I'm serious. You invited this woman to an $8,000 dinner, expecting her to pay. A woman whose home you took. A woman living on $200 a month. And you thought I'd be okay with that. We didn't steal anything. The house is legally in Marcus's name, Vanessa said weakly. Legally and morally are two different things, daughter, Marilyn replied. And you know that. Marilyn slowly took off her pearl necklace. The same one that had been shining on her neck all night. She put it down on the table. This is worth about $2,000. Use it to pay the bill. Then we're going to have a very long conversation about values and decency. The waiter, who had been pretending not to see anything, came closer nervously. He picked up the necklace and looked at Marilyn. Ma'am, this is more than enough to cover the check. Do you want the change in cash? The change is for you, Marilyn cut in. For having to witness this circus. The waiter nodded quickly and disappeared with the necklace and the bill. I sat back down. My legs felt too weak to hold me. Everything was happening so fast. Marilyn, a woman I barely knew, was defending me, paying a bill that wasn't hers, offering me a place to stay. And my own son was still sitting there, saying nothing. Marcus. I said his name softly. Look at me. He slowly raised his eyes. There were tears in them, but I didn't feel sorry for him. I only felt tired. Completely tired. Tomorrow I'm coming back for my things, I said. The few things you let me keep in that little room. After that, I don't want to see that house again. Not until it's mine again. Or never, if that's how it has to be. My voice was firm now, steady and clear. Mama, I stopped him with a small gesture. No. I don't want to hear excuses. I don't want more promises. I just want my dignity back. And if that means losing you, then so be it. The words hung in the air like smoke. Heavy. Final. Vanessa tried to grab Marcus's hand, but he pulled it away. Something in his face had cracked. Marilyn placed her hand gently on my shoulder. Let's go, Grace. That's enough for tonight. I stood up, picked up my small purse. I looked one last time at the table, at those 12 people who had watched my humiliation and my freedom in the same night. Then I walked toward the exit with Marilyn by my side. Every step hurt, not because I was physically tired, but because of the weight of everything that had just happened. I left the table behind. I left Marcus behind. I left 8 months of silent humiliation behind. The doorman opened the door, and the cold night air hit my face. I took a deep breath. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I could actually breathe. Marilyn's car was a sleek black sedan. Elegant but not flashy. She opened the passenger door for me, a small gesture that made me feel more human than I had felt in months. I sat down. The seat was soft and comfortable. It smelled like expensive perfume and new leather. Marilyn got into the driver's seat and started the engine. For a few minutes, neither of us spoke. Only the sound of the engine and the city traffic filled the silence between us. I'm so sorry, Marilyn finally said. Her voice sounded tired, defeated. I had no idea what my daughter was doing to you. If I had known earlier. She paused and took a deep breath. I should have known. I should have paid attention. I looked out the window. The city lights passed by like blurry stars. It's not your fault, I said. You had no way of knowing. I didn't tell anyone either. I was too ashamed to admit that my own son had done this to me. The shame should be theirs, not yours, Marilyn replied. She turned a corner. We were entering a neighborhood I recognized from passing by before. Big houses, neat lawns, the kind of area I never imagined I'd be going to. Vanessa wasn't always like this, Marilyn continued. Or maybe she was, and I refused to see it. She was always ambitious, always wanting more. But I never thought she would be capable of something so cruel. Her voice cracked slightly at the end. We arrived at a 2-story house with a cream-colored exterior and large windows. Marilyn parked in the driveway. It's a lot for one person, she said, almost apologizing. But I like the space. I like being able to walk without bumping into walls. She looked at me in a way that told me she understood, at least in her mind, what it meant to live in a tiny space. We went inside. The house smelled like lavender and fresh cleaning. The floor was light wood. The walls were soft, calm colors. There were paintings hanging carefully on the walls, potted plants, and a staircase leading to the second floor. The guest room is upstairs, Marilyn said. It has its own bathroom, fresh sheets, towels, everything you need. She led me up the stairs. Each step felt higher than the last, not because of my age, but because it all felt unreal. The room was at least 3 times bigger than the little room I'd been living in for the last 8 months. A queen-sized bed with an ivory comforter. A dresser with a mirror. An armchair by the window. Curtains that looked like silk. The bathroom had a bathtub. A bathtub. I hadn't taken a bath in a tub since they moved me to that tiny room. There, I only had a cramped shower where I could barely turn around. Rest, Marilyn said, putting her hand on my shoulder again. We'll talk tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll see what to do. For now, just rest. She left the room and closed the door gently. I stood there in the middle of the room, just looking around. I touched the bed to make sure it was real. Then I sat on the edge. The mattress was soft. My hands were shaking. And then, only then, I let myself cry. I cried. I cried for the 8 months I had lost. I cried for the house that had been mine. I cried for the son I had raised, who had betrayed me. I cried until there was nothing left inside. I woke up with sunlight pouring in through the window. For a second, I didn't know where I was. Then it all came back. The restaurant, the bill, Marilyn, the guest room. I got up and looked at myself in the mirror on the dresser. A 65-year-old woman stared back at me with swollen eyes and messy hair. But there was something new there, too. Something in her eyes. A small spark that had been gone for months. Determination. I went downstairs, following the smell of coffee. Marilyn was in the kitchen, sitting at a wooden table with a cup in her hands. Morning. Sleep well? She asked. I nodded, even though it wasn't completely true. I hadn't slept much. But I had slept without hearing the sounds of that house in the background. Without listening to Vanessa and Marcus walking around what used to be my living room. Without feeling like a stranger in my own life. There's coffee, toast, fruit. Help yourself, she said. I poured myself some coffee into a white ceramic cup. Black, no sugar. The way I'd learned to drink it in these last few months. No extras. No luxury. Just enough to get by. Marilyn watched me for a moment. Grace, I need to ask you something important, she said. And I need you to be completely honest with me. She took a sip of her coffee. When you signed the house papers, did you read everything? Did you understand what you were signing? I thought back to that day. To the papers Vanessa laid in front of me. To the words I didn't really understand. To how rushed they seemed for me to sign. I didn't read everything, I admitted. Vanessa explained that it was for protection, to avoid taxes. She told me nothing would change. That I'd still be the owner in spirit. That it was just paperwork. Marilyn nodded slowly. Were there any witnesses when you signed? She asked. I tried to remember. There was a notary public, or someone who said he was, I replied. A young man in a gray suit. He came to the house. He was there for less than 20 minutes. He made me sign 3 or 4 different papers. Do you remember his name? She asked. I shook my head. No. Vanessa called him. She said it was a favor, that he was coming because she knew him. Marilyn put her cup down a bit harder than necessary. A favor, she muttered. Of course. She stood up and started pacing around the kitchen. Grace, I don't think what they did to you is just immoral, she said. I think it might be illegal too. My heart started beating faster. What do you mean? I asked. Marilyn stopped and looked me straight in the eyes. If they made you sign under pressure, without really explaining what it was, without giving you the chance to get your own legal advice, that's coercion. And if that notary was just someone Vanessa knew, and he didn't check that you truly understood, the transfer might not be valid. Hope. A dangerous word. But there it was, growing inside me like a plant after rain. How can we find out? I asked. Marilyn picked up her phone. I have a friend, she said. Marcus. He's a lawyer. He handles cases about family fraud and financial abuse against older people. Older. The word stung a little, but it was true. On paper, I was an elderly woman. I'll call him now. He'll tell us what your options are. She dialed a number and spoke quietly. I caught a few words. Urgent, fraud, property transfer, coercion. When she hung up, her face was set with determination. Marcus says he can see us this afternoon at 3 p.m. at his office, she said. I glanced at the kitchen clock. It was 9 a.m. We had 6 hours. But first, Marilyn said. We're going to your house. Well, to the house that was yours. You're going to get your things. All your things. And you're going to do it with your head held high. Understood? I nodded. Even though the idea of going back scared me. We arrived at the house at 10 a.m. My house. The house where I had lived for 30 years. Where I had raised Marcus. Where I had sewn thousands of dresses on my old machine. Where I had planted the pecan trees that now shaded the yard. Marilyn parked in front of the house. Marcus's car was there, and so was Vanessa's. They were both home. Are you ready? Marilyn asked. I took a deep breath. As ready as I'll ever be. We rang the doorbell. No one answered. I rang again. Still nothing. Then Marilyn knocked hard, the kind of knock that says, I'm not going anywhere until you open this door. Finally, the door opened. Vanessa stood there in gray sweatpants and a t-shirt, no makeup, eyes swollen like she'd been crying. What do you want? She snapped, her voice rough and defensive. Grace has come for her things, Marilyn said firmly. And you're going to let her in. Now. Vanessa looked at both of us. For a second, I thought she would slam the door in our faces. Then she stepped aside. We walked in. The living room was familiar, but different. My old brown sofa was gone, replaced with a fancy beige one. The curtains I had sewn myself were gone too. Now there were plain modern blinds. My wooden coffee table had disappeared. In its place stood a glass and metal one. It was my house, but it didn't feel like mine anymore. Where's Marcus? I asked. Vanessa pointed upstairs. Still asleep. He drank a lot last night after you left. Of course he did. My son was sleeping while I came to pick up what was left of my life. The little room is back here, she said. I walked down the hallway. I passed my old bedroom. The door was closed. I kept going toward the back, to the door of the converted storage room. I opened it. There it was. My life crammed into a 10 by 10 room. The bed I had slept on for 8 months. The chair where I sat to read, because there was no space for anything else. The coat rack with my 4 dresses. A box with my shoes. Another with old photos and memories. My hairbrush. My worn-out Bible. My whole life fit into 2 small suitcases. How sad is that? 65 years reduced to 2 bags. I started packing. Marilyn stepped into the room behind me and looked around. I watched her face change as she took it all in. Her eyes filled with quiet anger as she really saw the place where I had been living. My God, she whispered. This is inhumane. I kept folding my clothes. My hands moved automatically. I had gotten used to it these past months. Fold, pack, make everything smaller. Make my existence take up as little space as possible. Do you need help? Marilyn asked. I shook my head. I can manage. Thank you. But she didn't leave. She just stood there, watching. A silent witness to my humiliation. I packed my dresses, my shoes, the box with photos of Marcus as a baby, back when we were happy. When I was just his mother and he was just my son. Before Vanessa. Before the greed. Before everything broke. Then I saw something under the bed. An old shoebox. I pulled it out. Inside were documents I had kept for years. My birth certificate, Marcus's birth certificate, my marriage certificate with Hector, the divorce papers, and something else, the original purchase papers for the house. The documents that proved I had paid for it, that the house was mine. My heart started beating faster. Marilyn, I called, my voice shaking. Look at this. I handed her the papers. She read them quickly, her eyes moving fast across the pages. Grace, this is gold, she said. This proves you bought this house, that it was yours fully paid, and that no one else had any right to it. She put the documents carefully into my suitcase. Marcus needs to see these today, she said. I finished packing. 2 suitcases and 1 box of photos. That was all I was taking from 8 months in that little room. I stood in the doorway and looked at it one last time. That tiny space where I had cried so many nights. Where I ate cold beans because I didn't even have a microwave. Where I felt like my life had no value. Goodbye, I whispered and closed the door. We walked back to the living room. Vanessa was sitting on her new sofa, staring at her phone. She didn't even look up as we passed, but I stopped. Something inside me broke, or maybe something finally healed. Vanessa, I said. She looked up. I want you to know something, I told her. You can keep the furniture. You can keep the new blinds. You can keep everything you changed. But this house, these walls, this roof, I paid for all of it with my sweat and my hands. And I am going to get it back. Vanessa laughed, but it was a nervous laugh. Good luck with that. The house is in Marcus's name. You signed the papers. You have zero right to it. I took one small step closer. Do you know the saddest part of all this? I asked. It's not that you took my house. It's not that you made me live in a tiny room. It's that you convinced my son that it was okay. That is what I will never forgive you for. The words hung in the air. I turned and walked out of the house. Marilyn followed right behind me. I heard quick footsteps. Mama. It was Marcus. He had finally come downstairs. He stood in the doorway, hair messy, clothes wrinkled. Mama, wait. We have to talk, he said. I stopped, but I didn't turn around. There's nothing to talk about, Marcus. It's all been said. He came down the stairs and walked toward me. Mama, I'm sorry. I didn't. You didn't what? I cut in. You didn't think it would turn out like this? You didn't think it was wrong to let me live in a tiny room? You didn't think $200 a month wasn't enough? Or did you just not think about me at all? Marcus opened his mouth, then closed it. Tears ran down his face. Vanessa said you were fine, he said quietly. She said you were comfortable. I believed her. You believed her because it was easier, I said. Because if you admitted the truth, you would have had to act. And acting would mean confronting your wife. It would mean choosing between her and me. And now we both know who you chose. I put my suitcases in the trunk of Marilyn's car. Marcus followed me. Mama, let me fix this, he begged. We can do something. You can move back into your old room. We can give you more money. I don't want your charity, Marcus, I said calmly. I want my house. I want what was mine. And if you don't give it back willingly, I'll take it back another way. I got into the car. Marilyn started the engine. As we drove away, I looked in the side mirror. Marcus stood in the driveway, alone, looking small, like a lost little boy. But I didn't feel pity. I felt determined. We arrived at Marcus's office at exactly 3 p.m. The building was modern, right in the city center. Marble floors, fast elevators, efficient secretaries. Completely different from the world I had been living in these last months. Marcus welcomed us into his office on the 5th floor. He was in his 50s with graying hair, a charcoal suit, and sharp eyes that seemed to catch everything. Marilyn told me a bit on the phone, he said. But I need you to tell me everything from the beginning. He sat behind his desk. Marilyn and I sat in front of him. I took a deep breath and started. I told him about the house, how I bought it by myself. About Vanessa and Marcus coming with the papers. About their promises. About the little room. About the $200 a month. About the $8,000 dinner. Marcus listened without interrupting, writing notes in a notebook. When I finished, he leaned back. Grace, this is a classic case of elder financial exploitation, he said. Possibly fraud. Definitely coercion. He pulled out the documents I had brought and read them carefully. These original papers are crucial, he said. They clearly show you were the owner. Now, tell me exactly what happened when you transferred the house. I closed my eyes, trying to remember. Vanessa put 3 or 4 papers in front of me, I said. Long pages with tiny writing. The notary, or whoever he was, just told me where to sign. He didn't explain anything. He just pointed and said, sign here, here, here. It was all very fast. Less than 20 minutes. Marcus nodded. Did they give you copies? He asked. I shook my head. They said they would mail them to me, but they never did. Marcus wrote more notes. They pressured you, he said. They told you that you had to sign that same day? I thought of that afternoon, of the stress in Vanessa's voice. Yes, I said. They said there was a deadline, something about taxes. That if I didn't sign right then, I would lose important benefits. Marcus put down his pen. Lies, he said simply. All lies to rush you. He stood up and walked to the window. Grace, I think we can fight this, he said. But I have to be honest. It won't be easy. It will take time, probably several months. And we need to find irregularities in the transfer. What kind of irregularities? Marilyn asked. Marcus turned back to us. If the notary didn't properly check that Grace understood what she was signing, if there were no impartial witnesses, if there was pressure, if the documents weren't handled correctly, any of that can make the transfer invalid, he explained. My heart was beating fast again. Hope, a dangerous word, started to grow inside me. What do you need from me? I asked. First, he said, I need your permission to request all the transfer documents from the public registry. Second, I need you to write down everything you remember from that day. Every detail, every word they said, every promise they made. Third, I need you to think of anyone who could testify for you. Someone who saw how you were living, how they treated you. I thought for a moment. Neighbors. There's a lady, I said. Miss Ethel May Jenkins. She lives next door. She saw me sometimes. She greeted me when I took the trash out from the little room. Once she asked if I was okay. I told her yes, because I was too ashamed to say the truth. Marcus nodded. Good. We'll speak with her. Her testimony could help us a lot. He pulled out some papers from his desk. This is a representation agreement, he said. If you sign it, I'll be your lawyer on this case. My usual fee is $300 an hour, but for you, I'll work for a percentage of whatever we recover. I looked at the paper, then at Marilyn. She nodded. Do it, Grace, she said. Take back what's yours. I signed the contract with shaking hands. Every letter of my name felt like an act of courage, like a declaration of war. Marcus put the contract into a folder with my name on it. Good, he said. From now on, all communication with Marcus and Vanessa goes through me. Don't talk to them directly. Don't answer calls. Don't reply to messages. Everything comes to me. Understood? I nodded. Understood. I'll start tomorrow morning, he said. I'll request the documents, investigate the notary, and look for any irregularities. Meanwhile, you need to stay somewhere safe. Somewhere they can't pressure you or scare you. I looked at Marilyn. She smiled gently. She already has a place, she said. My house, for as long as she needs. Marcus looked relieved. Perfect, he said. That makes me feel better. We left the office with a strange feeling, a mix of fear and hope. Marilyn drove quietly for a few minutes. Then she asked, Are you hungry? I know a quiet place that makes the best homemade Southern food. I realized I hadn't eaten anything all day except coffee. Yes, I said. I'm hungry. She smiled and turned the car. The restaurant was small and cozy, nothing like the Gilded Lily. The tables were simple wood, the chairs didn't even match, and the menu was written on a chalkboard. It smelled like stew and fresh cornbread. We sat by the window. An older waitress came over with a warm, real smile. What can I get for you ladies? She asked. Marilyn ordered pot roast with collard greens. I ordered chicken and vegetable soup. Simple food. Honest food. My husband died 5 years ago, Marilyn said suddenly. Cancer. Fast and cruel. She took a sip of water. When he died, Vanessa offered to help me with everything. The papers, the funeral, the money. I thought it was love. But now I wonder if she was just checking how much she could get. Her eyes filled with tears. I never thought my daughter could do what she did to you, she whispered. I reached across the table and took her hand. It's not your fault, I told her. You didn't make her that way. People choose who they want to be. Marilyn squeezed my hand, but shook her head a little. Something went wrong somewhere, she said. Somewhere, I stopped teaching her what really matters. The food arrived hot and fragrant. I ate slowly. Every spoonful tasted like normal life, like dignity, like being human again. Over the next few days, I stayed at Marilyn's house. We fell into a routine. I woke up early and made coffee. She came downstairs and we had breakfast together. We talked about life, mistakes, dreams we had given up on. In the afternoons, I sewed. Marilyn had brought my old sewing machine from the little room. The familiar sound of the motor calmed me. Marcus called every 2 days with updates. He had requested the documents. He had tracked down the notary. He had found problems. The notary who signed your transfer was suspended last year for professional misconduct, Marcus said. All the transfers he handled during that time are under review. If we can prove what he did. Each update gave me more hope. One afternoon, Marilyn's doorbell rang. She went to open it. I heard voices. One of them I recognized. Marcus. My heart started racing. You can't come in, Marilyn said firmly. Grace doesn't want to see you. Please, Marcus said. I just want to talk to her. 5 minutes. I walked down the stairs. Marilyn looked at me. I nodded. It's okay, I said. 5 minutes. Marcus walked in. He looked terrible. He had lost weight. He had dark circles under his eyes. His clothes were wrinkled. Mama, he said, his voice cracking. Thank you for seeing me. We sat in the living room. Marilyn stayed close like a guard. You have 5 minutes, I said flatly. Talk. Marcus took a deep breath. Mama, I'm sorry, he said. I'm sorry for everything. Vanessa and I have been talking. We want to give you the house back. The room went quiet. Marilyn and I looked at each other. Give the house back? I repeated slowly. Marcus nodded. Yes. We want to make things right. We'll transfer it back into your name. No conditions. No tricks. We just want you to come home. Something tightened in my chest, but it wasn't relief. It was doubt. Why now? I asked. Why not 2 months ago? Why not when you had me living in that tiny room? Marcus lowered his eyes. Because Marcus is investigating, he said quietly. Because we found out the notary had problems. Because our lawyer told us we might lose the house anyway and maybe face criminal charges. There it was. The truth. This wasn't about love. This wasn't about guilt. It was about fear. So you're not doing this because it's right, I said. You're doing it because it benefits you. Mama, please, he said. I know you're angry, but this is what you wanted, isn't it? To get your house back. We're offering it without a fight, without a long court case. Marcus leaned forward. We can sign the papers this week, he said. Everything can go back to how it was. I stood up. No, Marcus, I said softly. Nothing can go back to how it was. Before I trusted you. Before I believed my son loved me more than a house. Before I thought family meant something. I walked to the window and looked out at Marilyn's garden, the neat flowers, the green grass. If you give me the house now, it will look like you're being kind, I said. But I don't want kindness. I want justice. I want a judge to tell you what you did was wrong. I want it on the record. I want you to face the consequences. I turned back to him. So no, I said. I don't accept your offer. Marcus went pale. Mama, you're making a mistake, he said. If this goes to court, it could take years. You could lose. And where will you live until then? What will you do? I gave him a small, sad smile. I'll live here with Marilyn, I said. Also, I'll get my dignity back. And I'll wait. Because I have something you don't have, Marcus. I have the truth. I'm the one who's right. Mama, your 5 minutes are up, I said. Marilyn, please show my son out. Marilyn opened the door. Marcus stood there, almost begging me with his eyes to change my mind. But I didn't move. I didn't flinch. Finally, he left. I heard his steps fade away. I heard his car start. Then there was only silence. You did the right thing, Marilyn said gently, putting her hand on my shoulder. I know it hurts. I know he's your son. But you did the right thing. I nodded, even though every part of me ached. Even though my heart wanted to forgive him. Even though it would have been so much easier to accept his offer. But easy isn't always right. And I was done choosing easy. That night, Marcus called. Marcus reached out to me, he said. He told me he offered to give you the house back and you refused. There was something new in his voice, respect. Yes, I said. I refused. He was silent for a moment. Good, he said finally. Because I have news. Big news. The notary wasn't just suspended. He was working illegally. Every transfer he stamped during that time is invalid. Completely null. My breath caught. What does that mean? I asked. Marcus laughed, a happy, triumphant laugh. It means the transfer was never legal, he said. It means the house never actually stopped being yours. Legally, on paper, you are still the owner. We just need a judge to confirm it officially, and with everything we've found, that's almost guaranteed. Tears rolled down my cheeks, but this time they were tears of relief. How long will it take? I asked, my voice shaking. Hopefully 2 or 3 weeks, Marcus said. I have contacts at the courthouse. I can speed things up because of the urgency and the nature of your case. Grace, you're going to get your house back. And Marcus and Vanessa are going to have to answer for what they did. I hung up and collapsed onto the sofa. Marilyn sat next to me and wrapped her arm around my shoulders. She didn't say anything. She just held me while I cried. The next 2 weeks went by in a strange mix of nerves and hope. Marcus worked non-stop. Every day there was something new. He had filed the lawsuit. He had gotten an urgent hearing date. He had subpoenaed Marcus and Vanessa. He had found even more evidence of their wrongdoing. The case was coming together like a puzzle. Every piece fit. Marilyn went with me to every meeting with Marcus. She was more than just someone helping me. She had become my friend. At night, we sat in her living room with cups of chamomile tea and talked about life. You know what hurts the most? I told her one evening. I only ever wanted to be a good mother. I just wanted my son to be happy. And somehow, that made me an easy target. Marilyn nodded. Love shouldn't make us weak, she said. But it does. Miss Ethel May Jenkins, my neighbor, agreed to testify. Marcus interviewed her at her home. I saw everything, she told him. I saw Grace going in and out of that little room. I saw her taking her trash through the back. I saw Vanessa act like she didn't exist, like she was in the way. Her testimony was recorded. Proof. Evidence. The truth on the record. The court hearing was set for a Tuesday at 10 a.m. I didn't sleep the night before. I lay in the guest room, staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything that had happened, every choice I had made, and every choice I was about to make after tomorrow. Marilyn knocked on my door at 6 a.m. Are you awake? I opened the door. She walked in holding 2 cups of coffee. Today is the day, she said quietly. Today is the day, I repeated. We sat on the bed like 2 friends getting ready for a big fight. Are you scared? She asked. I'm terrified, I admitted. But I'm also ready. For the first time in months, I feel ready to fight. I dressed carefully. I wore the same wine-colored dress I had worn to that dinner. The night everything started. It felt symbolic. That dress had seen me at my lowest point. Now it was going to see me stand up again and take my dignity back. I put my hair up in a simple bun and looked at myself in the mirror. The woman staring back at me wasn't the same as 2 weeks ago. There was strength in her eyes now, and determination in her face. We arrived at the courthouse at 9:30. Marcus was waiting for us on the steps with a leather briefcase full of documents. Ready? He asked. Ready, I replied. We went inside. The hallways were long, with marble floors and wooden doors with gold nameplates. It smelled like old paper and unfinished justice. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. There were wooden benches, a judge's bench, and 2 tables for both sides. Marcus and Vanessa were already there, sitting with their lawyer, an older man in an expensive suit and a serious face. When we walked in, Vanessa turned her head away. Marcus looked straight at me. There was begging in his eyes. Maybe regret, maybe just fear. I didn't look away. I kept my eyes on him until he dropped his gaze first. All rise, the bailiff called out. The judge walked in. She was a woman in her 60s, with short gray hair, glasses, and a black robe. She sat down and checked the papers in front of her. Case number 5732, Grace Holloway versus Marcus Holloway and Vanessa Holloway. Complaint for nullification of property transfer due to coercion and fraud. Her voice was clear and firm, with no emotion. Mr. Johnson, she said to Marcus. Present your case. Marcus stood up. He spoke for about 20 minutes. He told the whole story. How I bought the house, how they brought the papers, the promises they made, the tiny room, the $200, and even the $8,000 dinner. He showed the original purchase documents. He played the recorded testimony of Ms. Ethel May Jenkins. He showed the proof about the suspended notary. Your Honor, Marcus said in closing, my client was the victim of a deliberate plan to strip her of her home. She was manipulated, pressured, and then abandoned by her own son and daughter-in-law, people she trusted completely. We ask that the transfer be declared null and void, and that the property be immediately returned to its rightful owner. The judge nodded and turned to Marcus and Vanessa's lawyer. Mr. Delgado, your turn. Their lawyer stood up. He tried to argue that I had signed willingly, that I understood what I was signing, that I lived there without paying rent, and that I received financial support. But his words felt empty, especially when the judge cut him off. Mr. Delgado, how do you explain that the notary who certified the transfer was suspended at the time? The lawyer stumbled over his words. Your Honor, my clients had no knowledge of that suspension. It was a good faith mistake. The judge looked at him over her glasses. A good faith mistake? Hiring a notary who just happened to be personally known by Mrs. Holloway? Pressuring a 65-year-old woman to sign documents without independent legal advice? Vanessa whispered something to her lawyer. He shook his head. Marcus had his hands clenched together on the table, his knuckles white from squeezing so hard. The judge continued. I've reviewed all the evidence. I've read the testimony. I've confirmed the notary's status. And my conclusion is clear. She paused. The room went completely silent. The only sound was the clock ticking on the wall. The property transfer made 8 months ago is hereby declared null and void. The property title will be immediately returned to the name of Grace Holloway. Mr. Marcus Holloway and Mrs. Vanessa Holloway have 72 hours to vacate the property and hand over all keys. She hit the gavel on the desk. The sound rang in my ears like victory bells. I couldn't hold back my tears. Marilyn hugged me. Marcus gave me a big smile. It was official. The house was mine again. Legally mine. Completely mine. I looked over at Marcus and Vanessa's table. Marcus had his head in his hands. Vanessa was crying silently. Their lawyer was quickly gathering his papers, clearly upset. They had lost. The truth had won. And furthermore, the judge added, she wasn't done yet. I order Mr. and Mrs. Holloway to pay Miss Grace Holloway the sum of $1,600, $1,600 allowance for each of the 8 months they forced her to live on that insufficient amount. This must be paid within 30 days. More hits of the gavel. More justice. More repair. We walked out of the courtroom into the bright midday sun. The air felt different, cleaner, fresher, like the air after a storm. Marcus handed me a folder. These are all the official documents, he said. The property title with your name, the eviction order, the payment order, everything you need. I took it with shaking hands. Thank you, I said. It was all I could manage. Thank you for believing in me. Don't thank me, Marcus replied with a small smile. You're the one who had the courage to fight. I was just the tool. He said goodbye and left. Marilyn and I stood together on the courthouse steps. Do you want to go see your house? She asked. I shook my head. Not yet. Let them use their 72 hours. Let them pack. Let them feel what I felt when they pushed me into that little room. It wasn't revenge. It was justice. There's a difference. That evening, Marilyn made a special dinner. Nothing fancy. Roast chicken, salad, fresh bread, and a cheap but good wine. To justice, she said, raising her glass. To dignity, I answered. To women who get back up after being knocked down. We said together. We ate slowly, enjoying not just the food, but the moment. The victory, the relief, the closure. On the third day, exactly 72 hours after the judge's decision, Marilyn and I went to the house, my house. Marcus came along with a locksmith, just in case. But we didn't need him. The door was unlocked. We went inside. The house was empty. Completely empty. Marcus and Vanessa had taken everything. The new furniture, the blinds, the appliances, everything. All that was left were the walls, the floors, the ceilings, the structure I had paid for. I walked through the empty rooms. My footsteps echoed on the hardwood floor. The sound reminded me of the past, when the house was full of laughter, voices, and memories. I went into what used to be my bedroom. The walls were bare. There were marks where my pictures had been, frames and photos they had taken with them. I went to the kitchen. It was empty too. They hadn't even left the tiles I had chosen so carefully. They had ripped them off the walls. There were only patches of cement and empty spaces. It was like they had tried to erase every trace of me. Everything I had built, everything I had been in that house. But they couldn't erase the walls. They couldn't erase the foundation. They couldn't erase the fact that this house was mine. I walked out into the yard. The pecan trees were still there. Old and solid. Survivors. I went to the biggest one and placed my hand on its rough trunk. We survived, I whispered. Both of us survived. That tree had given pecans for 30 years. It had watched Marcus grow up. It had seen good days and bad ones. And it was still standing, just like me. Marilyn came to stand beside me. It's empty, she said, even though we both knew it. Yes, I answered. But it's mine. And that's what matters. She smiled. What are you going to do now? I looked at the bare walls, the empty rooms, the wide open possibilities. I'm going to start over, I said. I'm going to fill this house with things that really matter. Not expensive furniture, not flashy decorations. Just simple things. Honest things. Real things. Marilyn nodded. I'm going to help you. Over the next few weeks, Marilyn and I worked together. We bought used furniture. A simple but comfortable bed, a dining table from a yard sale, mismatched chairs that still did their job, plain white curtains, basic plates and glasses. I didn't need luxury. I just needed enough. And for the first time in a long time, enough felt more than enough. I set up my sewing machine again. I put it in what used to be my bedroom, which was now my workroom. I started sewing again, not just for myself but for others. Ms. Ethel May Jenkins recommended me to her friends. They needed small jobs, dresses taken in, pants shortened. I charged fair prices. Not a lot, but enough to live on. Enough to buy food, pay the bills and feel useful. The check for $1,600 arrived on the 29th day, one day before the deadline. I deposited it into my account. I didn't spend it all. I saved half just in case. The other half I used to buy things for the house, a new blender, frying pans, soft towels. Little comforts that reminded me I was alive, I had survived, and I had won. Marilyn visited 3 times a week. We drank coffee at my new table and talked about everything, her life, my life, and how we got here. Have you heard anything from Marcus? She asked me one day. I shook my head. Nothing. He hasn't called. He hasn't come by. It's like I died to him. The words hurt to say, but they were true. And you? Marilyn asked softly. Do you miss him? I thought about it, really thought about it. I miss the boy he used to be, I said. The son I thought I had. But the man he became? No, I don't miss him. That man was able to hurt me, and I don't need that kind of pain in my life. Marilyn took my hand across the table. You're stronger than you think, she said. One afternoon, I was sewing when I heard the doorbell. I put down my work and went to open the door. It was Marcus, standing there, standing at the door of my house. He had lost more weight. He looked thin, tired, and older than his 42 years. Mama, he said softly. His voice was almost a whisper. Can I come in? I looked at him. This man had once been my baby, my whole world, my biggest joy, and also my biggest disappointment. Why are you here, Marcus? I asked, not opening the door all the way. To apologize. To try to explain. He stopped. To ask for your forgiveness. For real this time. I hesitated. Part of me wanted to shut the door and protect myself. Another part, the part that had been a mother for 42 years, wanted to listen. You have 10 minutes, I said. I opened the door wider and let him in. We sat in the living room. He looked around at the simple furniture and bare walls. You took everything, I said. It wasn't a question. It was a fact. Vanessa insisted, he said. She told me those things were ours, that we bought them. I tried to leave some things, but he stopped, then shook his head. No, that's a lie. I didn't try hard enough. I let her decide everything, like I always did. Where is Vanessa now? I asked. Marcus stared at his hands. She left, he said. She said she couldn't be with someone so weak. Someone who couldn't even keep his own mother's house. He let out a bitter laugh. Ironic, right? She left me because I lost the very thing she pushed me to take from you. I didn't feel happy about it. I didn't feel satisfied. I just felt sad. Sad for everything that had been destroyed and couldn't be fixed. Mama, I know I have no right to ask you for anything, he continued. I know I hurt you. I know I was a coward. But I want you to know something. He looked up. His eyes were red. Every night, I wake up thinking about that little room. Thinking about how I let you live there. How I did nothing. And I hate myself for it. I hate myself more than you could ever hate me. Tears ran down his face. I sat across from him. I don't hate you, Marcus, I said. Hate takes energy I don't have anymore. What I feel is sadness. Sadness that I lost my son. Sadness that you chose a house over your mother. Sadness that I don't know if I can ever trust you again. My voice was calm, not angry, not bitter. Just honest. But most of all, I added, I feel sad because I don't know who you are. The Marcus I raised would never have done this. I don't know who I am either, he admitted. Somewhere along the way I got lost. Vanessa had so many dreams, so many plans. I wanted to give her everything. I wanted to be the husband she deserved. But in the process, I forgot to be the son you deserved. He wiped his tears with the back of his hand. And now I've lost everything, he said. The house. Vanessa. You. Everything. You didn't lose the house, Marcus, I said. It was never yours to lose. It was stolen. That's different. I stood up. Your 10 minutes are up. I need you to leave now. Marcus stood too. Is there any chance, any way you might forgive me someday? He asked. I looked him straight in the eyes. I don't know, I answered. Maybe with time. With real actions. With real change. But not today. Today it still hurts too much. Marcus nodded. He walked toward the door, then stopped at the threshold. I love you, Mama, he said. I know I didn't show it. I know I failed you. But I love you. I always have. I always will. I closed the door softly after he left. I leaned my back against it, and the tears finally came. I cried for what could have been, for what would never be, for the broken relationship that might heal someday, or maybe never. That night, Marilyn came over for dinner. I told her about Marcus's visit. She listened quietly until I finished. Do you think you'll ever forgive him? She asked. I don't know, I said honestly. Forgiveness isn't something you can force. It has to come on its own, with time, with healing. For now, I just want to live my life, rebuild what was broken, and find peace. That's wise, Marilyn said, pouring more coffee. And what about your plans for the future? I smiled. I want to keep sewing. Turn this into a small business. Fill this house with honest work and a simple life. I want to plant more trees in the yard. I want to wake up every morning knowing I'm in my house, my space, my territory. Marilyn lifted her cup. To new beginnings, she said. I lifted mine. To second chances, I replied. The months passed like pages in a book that finally had a good ending. Autumn came with golden leaves and cool air. My little sewing business grew. Ms. Ethel May Jenkins's friends brought their daughters. Their daughters brought their friends. Soon I had enough work to keep me busy 6 days a week. I wasn't getting rich, but I was happy. And that was worth more than any amount of money. I planted new trees in the yard, orange trees, an avocado tree, rose bushes by the kitchen window. Every plant was a symbol, a reminder that life goes on, that things can grow again even after being cut down, that there is always time to start over. Marilyn helped me plant the avocado tree. In 5 years it will give fruit, she said, her hands covered in soil. And we'll be here to see it, I replied. One November afternoon, 3 months after I got my house back, Marcus came again. This time he was holding an old wooden box. I recognized it immediately. It was the box where I kept old photographs. Pictures of him as a baby, his first day of school, birthdays, Christmases. I found them in the storage unit where we put everything after we moved out, he said. I thought you'd want them back. I took the box and opened it. All my memories were there. My life in pictures. Thank you, I said. That was all. Marcus stood in the doorway waiting. Can I come in? Just for a moment, he asked. I hesitated, but there was something different in his face. Softer. More humble. It's okay. Come in, I said. We sat in the living room. He looked around. You made it feel like a home again, he said. It was always a home, I answered. You just turned it into something else for a while. But houses remember. They remember love. They remember life. And slowly, that comes back. Marcus nodded. Mama, I've been going to therapy twice a week, he said. Trying to understand how I became the kind of person who could hurt you like that. I looked at him, really looked at him. His eyes looked different. Less desperate, more clear. My therapist says I spent years trying to please Vanessa, trying to be enough for her. And because of that, I stopped seeing what really mattered. I stopped seeing you. I stopped valuing what I already had. He leaned forward. I'm not giving you excuses, he said. I'm not asking you to forgive me yet. I know I don't deserve that. I just want you to know I'm working on myself. I'm trying to be better. That's good, Marcus, I said honestly. Not for me, for you. You're the one who has to live with yourself. You need to be able to look in the mirror without drowning in shame. He nodded. I got a new job at a small company, he added. The pay isn't great, but it's honest. I rented a small apartment. Nothing fancy, just what I need. And for the first time in years, I feel lighter, like a weight I didn't even know I was carrying has finally been lifted. We sat in silence for a moment. It wasn't an awkward silence. It was a silence of understanding. Two people who had gone through a storm and were now watching the sky slowly clear. Mama, I don't expect you to forgive me tomorrow, or next month, or even next year. But I want you to know I'm not going to stop trying, Marcus said. I'll keep working on myself. I'll keep trying to be the kind of son I should have always been. I believe you, I told him. And I really did. Something in his voice, the way he sat, the way he looked at me, it felt different this time. More real. More honest. But Marcus, you need to understand something, I continued. Forgiving you doesn't mean everything goes back to how it was before. It doesn't mean you can just walk into my life like nothing happened. Things have changed. I've changed. And if we are going to have any kind of relationship, it has to be a new one. A different one. I understand, he said, getting to his feet. And I accept that. I know I brought this on myself. I know I deserve the consequences of what I did. He walked toward the door. Can I come visit sometimes? He asked quietly. Not often. Just every now and then so you can see that I'm keeping my word. So you can see that I'm really changing. I thought about it for a moment. Once a month, I said. Sundays at 3 p.m. If you come even 1 minute late, I won't open the door. I'll be here, he promised. And then he left. I looked at the box of photos he had brought. I took it to my room and opened it. I pulled the pictures out one by one. My smiling baby. My boy with his first missing tooth. My teenager in his graduation gown. My grown son on his wedding day with Vanessa. I was there in all of them, smiling, proud, full of love. Back then, I had no idea what was coming. But I also didn't know how strong I would be when it finally arrived. That evening, Marilyn came over like she always did. I told her everything, Marcus's visit, the photos, his promise to change. Do you believe him? She asked. I want to believe him, I replied honestly. But I've also learned to protect myself. I've learned that love doesn't mean closing your eyes. Family doesn't mean you accept anything and everything. And forgiveness does not mean forgetting. Marilyn smiled softly. Then you've learned well, she said. We ate dinner at my small table, vegetable soup I had cooked myself, some bread, and a cheap but cheerful bottle of wine Marilyn brought. You know, Marilyn said. When I first met Vanessa, I thought I'd failed as a mother. I thought I must have done something terribly wrong for her to be able to treat you that way. But my therapist helped me see something. Sometimes people make bad choices no matter how they were raised. It's not always the parents' fault. It's hard not to feel guilty, I admitted. I keep asking myself what I did wrong with Marcus, where I went off track. Marilyn shook her head. You raised a good boy, she said firmly. The choices he made as an adult are on him, not on you. You gave him love. You gave him values. You gave him everything you had. What he did with that was his decision. Her words comforted me more than I expected. On the first Sunday of December, exactly at 3 p.m., I heard the doorbell. It was Marcus, right on time. He was holding simple flowers from the market. White daisies. Not expensive roses. Not some big fancy bouquet. Just simple, honest flowers. I thought you might like these, he said shyly. I do, I said. I put them in a vase with water. We sat in the living room and talked for about half an hour. About his job, about therapy, about small everyday things. Nothing deep. Nothing heavy. We didn't talk about the past. We didn't talk about the hurt. For those 30 minutes, we just stayed in the present. The months went by like that. Marcus came every first Sunday. Always on time. Always with simple flowers. Always respectful of the time I had given him. Slowly, our conversations became easier. Slowly, I started seeing small flashes of the boy I used to know. Not exactly the same. He could never be the same, but maybe someone better. Someone who had learned something from his pain. Someone trying to grow. In the spring, 1 year after I got my house back, Marilyn and I were standing in the yard. The trees we planted were doing well, and the old pecan tree had given its best harvest in years. The whole yard smelled like flowers and fresh soil. Are you happy? Marilyn asked suddenly. I really thought about it. About everything I had gone through, everything I had lost, everything I had gotten back. Yes, I said, almost surprised by my own answer. I am happy. Not in the way I imagined. Not in the way I planned. But yes, I'm happy. I looked at my house, my yard, my hands rough from honest work, my simple but real life. I lost my son for a while. I continued. I lost my house. I lost my dignity. But I got them back. Not exactly the same, but I got them back. And that makes me stronger. Marilyn put her arm around my shoulders. Do you know what I admire most about you? She asked. It's not just that you fought back. Lots of people fight. What I admire is that you didn't let bitterness eat you up. You didn't let the pain turn you into someone cruel. You found a way to stay yourself, even after everything. Her words warmed me in a way I hadn't felt in a very long time. That night, I sat in my living room. In my house. I drank coffee from my favorite mug. I looked out the window at the yard as the fireflies started to glow. I thought about the entire journey, from that awful night at the Gilded Lily to this quiet moment of peace. It had hurt. It had been hard. There were times I wanted to give up. But I didn't. I stood my ground. I fought. I won. And now, sitting in my own chair, in my own living room, drinking my own coffee, I could finally say something I hadn't been able to say in a very long time. I looked up at the first stars appearing in the sky. I watched the trees gently moving in the night breeze. I looked at my simple, honest life and I whispered words that closed one chapter and opened another. I am free. I'm really happy you're here, listening to my story. If it touched you, please show me by liking this video and subscribing to my channel. Let's see how many of us are out there. Write in the comments which city you're watching from and what time it is right now. I'm so curious to know where all you wonderful people are tuning in from. I share new real-life stories for you every single day. And now, 2 of my most popular stories will pop up on the screen. Go ahead and choose which one you want to watch next. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in my next story.